Members of the Fly Music Society, welcome back to the channel. So today we're doing an artist that I wanted to do for a little while, but I've been hesitant just because of some of the political disagreements that's gone on with some of his music. I preach on the channel that everybody should be there for each other, and basically that we're a community. Be no hatred. There should be kind of the standard stuff, honestly, that people want for a community, but I make sure to preach that. I make sure that there's no negativity, at least hurtful negativity in my community. But I think these things need to be talked about. Again, I don't know exactly what I'm getting into with this, but just from the name of the song, I'm going to assume that it's going to be a little bit political. So we're going to be listening and watching Tom MacDonald, White Boy, today. I talked to a member in my Discord, which you can join in the link below in the description. Lots of cool people in the Discord. But I asked them kind of where should I start with Tom MacDonald, and they gave me several songs. Thank you, Car, for that. They said this is where a lot of others started, and I think I should follow suit. Just kind of start where a lot of kind of other people started, and then from there I can make my own decision on where to go for what songs are next, and look at the comments, see what people say I should do next. But we're gonna get into this today. I want to say that members are live on my channel for as little as $4. Under $4, you can become a member of my channel. You get cool perks such as exclusive videos only specifically made for members, early access to videos like this, being able to comment on videos early, member shout outs, things like that. You can also do the same thing on my Patreon. If you don't want to give YouTube money, you can go ahead and go over on my Patreon and support me that way. None of this is required or expected, but it does help the channel a lot, so I do appreciate it. Links are below, also in the description. So we're gonna get into this. I don't like to get political on the channel, but I think it's gonna end up being a thing with this. My friend warned me that if I do get into some Tom MacDonald stuff, that it's going to be thought-provoking, and there might be some uncomfortable conversations to be had in terms of things I don't usually like to talk about: social, economic, government, political stuff. So we'll see. But without further ado, let's get into Tom MacDonald, White Boy. Let's get into it. In the classroom.
I cannot feel guilty for that I didn't do, but I can understand the reasons why you think that I should. Yeah, I'm white, but I never put your neck in no noose, and I never burnt a cross or hit my face with a hood. You can't just label me racist, cause I'm related to people who did some terrible way back before I was alive. My parents brought me up to treat everyone as an equal. I refuse to feel ashamed cause of my pretty blue eyes.
Like I said, I think this is something that definitely needs to be discussed. Tom feels that he shouldn't be patronized. He shouldn't be given a guilt trip. He shouldn't be the one. He shouldn't be treated as a racist himself for stuff that his ancestors might have done a long time ago. You know, he's saying that he's never actually done any of these things. He never hung people. He never, burned a cross with a white hood on. He never did any of this stuff himself. And he understands the reason why you're so upset. He understands because of all the oppression, that's cultural oppression too, that's still going on. He understands all of it, but don't be racist to him about it. Don't be mad at him for something he didn't do, right? I understand that. I really do. There's always a logical reasoning behind everything, but I think you got to take a step back and look at people as people. Can't label me I'm racist because I'm related to people. You just look at people as people. Thought-provoking, man. I didn't think we were going to get into this.
Everyone is an equal. I refuse to feel ashamed cause of my pretty blue eyes. A Nazi, white supremacist, anyone who labels me as that because of my family genetics. The hatred for Caucasians is so pathetic. Go be proud that you're black, but don't hate me for some credit. I'm not the white devil, neo-Nazi, cop trying to pull the trigger. You can call me what you want, but I'd still never say the white race as a whole ain't the enemy. There's racist white people, but we're far from that collectively. White boy.
He's saying, I don't oppress, or not don't oppress, but don't get mad at me. Don't blame me. I'm here to help you guys. I'm here. I agree with you. These people, these neo-Nazis, the cops, like the bad cops, the white devils, I dislike them too. I have hatred for them too. I'm trying to help you fight. Don't fight me. Don't fight me just because I'm white. The white people aren't race as a whole isn't the enemy. Some of us are here trying to help you. Powerful.
White boy, don't say that. White boy, oh you so bad. White boy, you wish you were black. White boy, dear white boy. White boy, white noise. I can't say with my white voice. White boys, white lies. Don't tell me how to see it through my white eyes. If a black man
White boy wish you were black. White boy. Here's the thing. I've seen this with like even Eminem. All music now is descendant of blues, jazz, all of that. Rock music is a descendant of jazz and blues. Hip hop is a descendant of that. Even pop now takes in blues elements. Country takes in blues elements. Like all this stuff is built upon, I'm not going to say African American music because not all of them are American, but it's black music. The cultural, everything now that we have in music has built upon some type of black music. Obviously, there's all along the way, there's been white artists that have or non-black artists that have taken on those genres of music. And I feel like the first thing that people go to is, oh, look at this is cultural appropriation. He shouldn't be doing that. But people can be like Eminem. He like adores that culture. He's not trying to cultural appropriate. He appreciates it. He's trying to show how much he loves it by making rap music. And I think that's where people kind of fumble is they just assume that these people are trying to steal it. They're trying to steal the culture. They're trying to steal the spotlight from black artists or whatever because they're part of it. What better way to show appreciation than to create your own creation or art that takes all of those elements, but make it your own and show like, look, I've done the research. Look at all of these elements that I'm taking in and putting into my own music. I appreciate that. I think it's the news, the government, all of these different aspects pushing hate and fear in the media. All of that stuff is what's pushing us to just move straight to hate, move straight to the negative when we need to take a step back from all of that stuff. Social media, news, the government, all that stuff, and look at it and do an actual nice look, our own perception and look at it. Like, do we all really have to hate each other? Do we all really hate each other? I guarantee you there's people in all of our lives that we thought was a certain way that ended up being totally different than what we thought. Like I'm good friends with a couple people now who I thought were horrible human beings just at first glance and the first conversation. You don't know what somebody's going through. You don't know what somebody's life is like. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know how they are. We need to stop assuming things right off the get-go.
If a black man is sipping on some cognac sitting next to me, I don't assume that every black's favorite drink is Hennessy. I don't dislike Tanisha because her first name isn't Stephanie. Not only is that wrong, it's a waste of energy. Ivory or ebony, 45 or 17, we all bleed the same. Martin Luther King or Kennedy. They're angry, I'm reciting the facts. He's white and he raps, he stole the culture right from the blacks. Okay, it's fire, but we lit the flame, he's siphoning gas. So this corny little honky man, the whitey is whack. You letting history perpetuate the hatred within, and then you paint me with the brush you painted slave owners with. Yeah. What?
Man, you say we all bleed the same. Whether we're old, young, we all bleed the same. We're all human beings. He mentioned Martin Luther King and Kennedy, and you hear a gunshot because both of them were killed, right? And also pretty big icons in trying to help end racism. So I think it's pretty poetic that he mentioned them in this because both of them were trying to, I wouldn't say they were both equally key, but they definitely were both trying to fight to end racism. And he mentioned what I talked about. He's white and he raps and stole the culture right from the blacks. Not what he's trying to do. He appreciates the culture and he's trying to use it to make a change to help. F this little corny little honky man. And he said, you're letting history perpetuate the hatred within. I think with the internet wave now and TikTok and having short attention spans, I think people find what they want to find information wise and they use that and they run with it. That's what happened with the CNN article and hi-rez. I'm not going to get into that, but you're taking snippets of things and you're running with it and using that to form some type of narrative when really what you should be doing is doing the full research, the context. What's the entirety of a point or an excerpt of the speech? What is the context? What else was he talking about? Context is very important, and understanding that just because something was a certain way at this particular time doesn't mean that it's always going to be like that.
You painted slave owners with, yeah.
White boy, don't say that. White boy, oh you so bad. White boy, you wish you were black. White boy, dear white boy.
White boy, white noise. I can't say with my white voice.
This reminds me of Joyner Lucas is I forgot the name of it, but it's like a white dude and a black dude yelling at each other.
Got a mother, a father, a sister, an auntie, an uncle, and a grandma that I picture when you're openly hating. And God willing, one day I'll have a kid of my own. I refuse to let you blindly hate my wife and my baby, so go ahead and hate the races. I pray for their extinction. If you wanna hate the white people, just make the distinction between the ones who want the best for everyone regardless, and the ones who build the system just to smother you with hardship. Stop before you say it.
He mentioned something that resonates with me a lot. As you guys know, I have 3 kids now, 2 boys and a girl, my girl being the oldest. You know, my wife's pretty petite. She's 5 foot. My daughter's pretty petite. She's the smallest in her class. Like, as a dad, I worry about not only because she's small, but just being a girl, a woman in general, like what she might have to go through, what obstacles she'll have to jump over. And you can disagree that women have more obstacles to jump over, but I personally have seen it firsthand, and I worry about that. And him talking about, he prays for racist extinction, right? But he doesn't want them to blindly hate his wife or his baby because of how she looks. And I think what's so ironic about that is, like, he's literally saying, I don't want her to be hated for how she looks, which is exactly what, you know, what black people have to go through, and other cultures as well. But we're talking specifically about that right now. It's just ironic how we all worry about that now. It's this reverse thing that's happened where everything has been flipped over and on itself, where, like, it's not just now white people are racist to pretty much everybody else. It's everybody's racist to everybody in some way or fashion. And just like him, I pray for that to go away. I pray for the extinction of racism. And unfortunately, I think it's always going to be there. But I think if we can lessen it, I think if we can get to a point where we all acknowledge that yes, it is here. And yes, 95% of us do not like that, and we fight against it. I think that's kind of an ideal situation. Who knows if we'll ever
Stop
get there.
before you say it. I know what you've been thinking. How's a straight white male in 2018? You're making me the villain by demonizing my race for things I didn't do and decisions I didn't make. No one that I call a friend has ever owned a slave, and neither did our dads or our dads' dads. Sakes acknowledging atrocities were wrongly committed is all that I can offer while I'm wrongly convicted. I would never hate a man for what God gave him in pigments, and I would never plot against him just because he is different. I would never judge a human for the cards he was given, or call him lesser than myself because of the race that he's mixed with. White people that you hate aren't your neighbors or lawyers. They're the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bushes, and Royals. They're the people who monopolized the water and oil and injected your communities with drugs that they spoiled. Got no patience for Nazis. I think they're better.
Okay. We're getting into the cultural, the socio-economical stuff of everything, and I already touched on it. White people that you hate aren't your neighbors or lawyers, right? It's not the person next to you. It's not that dude you know across the street. It's the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Bushes, Royals. It's all of these rich white dudes, the oil billionaires who are monopolizing water, monopolizing oil, who are putting drugs into the economy, who are the ones to blame for this. They're taking their racism, which is already toxic, and weaponizing it to make money. That's essentially what he's talking about. I feel like there's people that kind of say that in a poetic, metaphorical way. He's literally saying, like, yeah, they're monopolizing their race. They're taking their racism and weaponizing it.
Nazis, I think they're better off dead. They're fighting hatred with hatred, making the hate more intense. I don't want nothing to do with either side of the...
Sorry, I'm not going to stop it too much anymore. But he said something else I touched on. They're fighting hatred with hatred, making the hate more intense. That's what we see in the media. They talk about the hatred, and then they talk about why it's so horrible. And they breed hate with more hate. It's just a never-ending cycle of hate.
So don't blindly attack me for wearing braids on my head. Hate the people who believe you put yourselves in the ghetto. Hate the ones who teach their children you ain't because they said so. Hate the ones who think you're all the same and judge you profusely because the way that you're portrayed on our news and in movies. Being white and being racist aren't the same, man, I promise. No, it's hard to tell the difference if I'm just being honest. I deserve the chance to show you I'm not part of the problem, and you owe it to yourselves. We got so much in common.
White boy,
I like that.
don't say that. White boy, oh
some
you
of
so
the
bad. White boy, you
people
wish
in the
you
background
were black. White
that are listening to him, like they change how they're listening to him. Like now they're not getting mad, they're actually like, oh, he might have a point. For the most part, they don't like him.
White boy, don't say that. White boy, oh you so bad. White boy, you wish you were black. White boy, dear white boy.
What happens with stuff like this is people, like I mentioned before, get emotional, and instead of kind of looking at it from a different perspective, they only look at it from their own. And I think that's an issue we have, is empathy and sympathy and understand being in other people's shoes is a big thing right now that people, and I think it was exasperated by the pandemic and people being locked down. They have no social interaction, they become introverted, they forget that there's other people around them, that there's other people out there that have gone through many different things and all different types of issues, right? My issues may not be as serious as your issues, but I have nothing to compare it to. And my issues may seem like the end of the world, but in comparison to yours, they're really simple and easy to fix. But for me, it's so hard to get through. And I think that we kind of have to take a step back and realize that everybody has their own stuff that they're going through. And my whole point to this is we need to be able to understand other people's perspectives. We may go into something or a conversation or whatever, having this predisposed opinion about what we think of a person based on how they look, based on how they talk, based on who they hang around with. Like, these are all things that honestly we consider social cues. And I think that that's a habit we need to break. I think we need to take this judgment we might have, this predisposed judgment that you had about this person, they're going to go away because you actually got to know them. And I think much like that Joyner Lucas song, I can't remember the name of it right now. Once you get to know somebody, you're going to realize that they're not at all what you thought they were. There's on occasion, just out of sheer luck and happenstance and the random number generator of life, that you might be right, but that doesn't mean you're always right. There's so many people of all ages that hate racism, but they also don't know just because of how they grew up or just culturally, that they don't know when they are being discriminatory or racist. And part of that is, like I said, it's cultural, it's how they grew up. It's people like me who are willing to learn, like say, hey, this is why that's bad and I will never do it again. And it's not out of, oh man, I don't want to be looked at this way. It's, I don't want to be this way. I'm willing to learn. There's people out there willing to learn what it means to be part of that fight. It's really taking the time, like I said, to get to know people that really is important. I want to talk about the music because that's what we do here. Beat was cool. I like that when he went to the chorus, it was kind of like we see it in a lot of music, the distorted, almost megaphone sound that he does, usually done when people are yelling into the microphone whenever they're recording, because it likes to bottleneck, but it also gives it a cool sound. I do like the kind of backing track with the guitar and stuff. It has a little bit of a country twang to it, and I've read that Tom MacDonald has a lot of country twang in a lot of his songs, just by the feel of it, the chords that they chose, and kind of just the bounciness of the beat. But I also like the dark undertones with kind of the trap beats and the trap toms leading into the next kind of important section of the vocals. So I like all of that. So I think all of that's pretty cool too. But I think this is one of those songs that's important. And I think that it's hard to talk about, in a sense of feeling uncomfortable about talking about things you might not know a lot about, which I 100% will admit that I don't know enough about some of that stuff. I think it's stuff that needs to be talked about, and you need to engage your brain a little bit and think about, like, am I part of the problem or am I part of the solution? Because if you're not looking at that, then you're not part of the solution, in my opinion. It was a lot deeper than I expected to get today, you guys. I guess I should expect this moving forward with Tom MacDonald, but I want to get into a lot more Tom MacDonald. I didn't realize he had this depth. I didn't realize he had this kind of conversation going on with his music. And I think it's refreshing for it to be coming from the type of person that he is, an indie artist, different look with the tattoos all over and the braided hair. Like, he's going against the grain while talking about how you need to, while talking about going against the grain, I guess, if that makes sense. So really interested and excited to hear more of Tom. So if you like this video, please make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It helps the channel a lot. I hope to see you guys in the comments. Let me know what Tom MacDonald song I should do next, or if there's another artist similar to him that you would like me to get into. Really appreciate you guys engaging with my videos. It's been super helpful. I appreciate the support, and please do remember that good vibes are contagious.